sun sets free, always free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. The sun sets free, always free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Free at last he advances me, his grace runs deep. While the slave has died for me, yes he died for me. The sun sets free, all is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. The sun sets free, all is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I say who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I say who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I say who you say I am. The sun sets free, always free. I'm a child of God, yes I am.
That look like our church.
Sun sets free, always free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's no place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's no place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am.
Just Lavos Church right there.
Ben lives in Martinsburg along with his wife Carrie and their 3 children, Skylar, Elijah, and Addison. He's a carpenter by trade and annually works in a sugar bush producing maple syrup. We'll have to compare notes sometimes. I drive horses in a sugar bush in the wintertime. Ben was born and raised in Lions Falls throughout grade school. He then moved to Dublin Roar area where he attended his high school years. Ben's a member of the Abundant Life Fellowship Church in Lowville here, and you may be thinking, wow, he's tall. He may appear to be a very tall giant, but you will soon find out that some giants like Ben have the heart of a lamb. Please welcome Ben as he shares what God has done and continues to do in his life.
Better if I stand like this. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. God is faithful. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for this day. Lord, I thank you for a chance just to gather with fellow believers, Lord. Thank you for another opportunity to even gather in this building, Lord, with other believers. Lord, I know you have a plan and purpose today. and purpose for all of us. And I pray that by the end of this Lord, that we're able to hang our hat in your name. That all of this just echoes the way you talk. Lord, I know during that week, during this kept reminding me of new wine. Prayer this morning is that of new wine. And with that, Lord, I know that in the parable you tell us that you can't have new wine until old wine is good. Sometimes, Lord, my old wine is comfortable, and I don't comfort eating into the Father. Lord, this morning I pray that my desire for new wine is greater than that. My desire for new wine. Father, I pray that what I say today is from you. You think it comes from the Lord because it affects you and
I'll be on service assisting DPI. I'll be heading to 5405 GDF, Wills.
So yeah, thanks, Ben. Born Lions Falls, with the novel. Said my wife Carrie, my kids are here, my mother-in-law. Kind of neat for me to be back in this building. We used to meet here years ago. You know, God He's called me to just be transparent with my life, with where He's brought me, He's brought me through, and just to share that story. Well, a week ago, I think it was Friday maybe, came home from work and came inside and Carrie said, hey, there's a message for you on the answering machine. Somebody named Donna Smith called you. I think my wife said, I think she's the mayor of Lavo, or used to be the mayor, and she's with the Methodist Church. And in my mind, I was thinking this out loud. Well, I'm not a Methodist, and certainly don't want anything to do with politics. She must have the wrong guy. God doesn't make wrong people. So I listened to the message, and something I'd like to share with that, because one of my first thoughts was, there's just a lot of denominations in the world. And to go back a little bit, when COVID kind of hit, I won't rehash all the madness we've all lived through, but when COVID first hit, in my life, everybody was really close. And in my social life, everything was close. In my social media life, everything was close. Then all of a sudden, everybody is in different parties. Everybody is different now. And I'm standing and I'm looking and I'm like, man, that person's different. And I look at this group and like, they're different too. And it makes me step back from those differences. And I just kept stepping back. To the extent where I didn't want to attend church anymore because everybody's just so different from me. And God's timing with even this message and with your congregation reaching out is evident of God still at work in our lives. That same weekend, last weekend, what God showed me was I was spending too much time focusing on our differences. That I'd look at somebody and I'd see the differences. Even believers. All I saw was our differences. And God was telling me, you need to remember your similarities. You need to focus on the similarities you have with believers. So, if you believe in God, if you believe in the Holy Spirit, if you believe in Jesus, if you believe Jesus, the only Son of God, was sent to die for your sins, and that He rose again on the third day to secure our place in eternity with Him. If you believe He sent His Spirit as a guide and a helper, if you believe those similar things, And what differences in this world could possibly separate us? No matter what. Whether you're tall, whether you're short, or you name it, what differences could possibly separate us from then on out? So why am I here? And Donna had asked me to come share my testimony. I guess really the verse that immediately comes to me is in Revelation 12:11. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. They overcame him small h, the devil. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. That's two tools that God has given us to overcome the devil. The devil is a very real adversary. He hasn't given up trying to kill. He hasn't given up trying to steal. He hasn't given up trying to rob. That is the devil. He is active. And if we don't exercise those two tools, the blood of the Lamb and sharing our testimony, that leaves us kind of defenseless. If I was to ask you, if there was a bolt, 10 millimeter bolt, and I asked you, please go remove that bolt, and in one hand I have a 10 millimeter socket, in the other hand a ratchet, and I just give you the socket, say go take that bolt out, you're going to struggle. Or if I just give you the ratchet, you're going to struggle. It's two tools that when together are effective. And that's why I'm here today. I'm here because it's imperative that we share our testimony with each other. That we open our mouths and we share our testimony with each other. Because through sharing, there's just this openness where people can relate to each other. And that's why I'm here. And with the devil and his attacks, even Jesus in Luke chapter 4, when he went into the wilderness and was tested, we're given 3 references to blood. Even at the conclusion of that, the devil didn't say, I'm going to leave that guy alone. He's too big, he's too powerful. I'm going to just not deal with him anymore, I'll do something weaker. What the devil did is he left for a more opportune time. Even Jesus, he was looking for a more opportune time to go after. If he's going after him, he's still going after us. So, let's go. I was born in Lowville in 1979. Raised in Lions Falls. My mom and dad. Early when I was a child, my dad was an alcoholic. I grew up in a working class family. He worked in paper mill there in Lions Falls. He was a heavy drinker and an abusive man to my mother. So my early years of childhood are memories of a lot of that, a lot of fights at night, a lot of screaming, a lot of him. I remember one night waking up and he had locked her outside in the middle of winter. I remember coming down the stairs at night once it was quiet and just tripping over broken furniture to get to her bedroom while he was passed out on the couch. So that was my early childhood, and about 2nd or 3rd grade, my dad left. We married, and still lived in Lions Falls, a few miles away, but never really saw him again. Maybe saw him once or twice a year. So that kind of put my family in a bad way. I have three siblings, 2 older brothers and a sister. It left my mom 4 children, and it left us we're very, very poor. It was a tough few years. My mom at that point started taking us kids to church. Started really from that point on with church and have a background with attending church. When I was in 5th grade, my mother met a man and remarried. He was also a believer. He lived up in Gouverneur. So we all moved up to Gouverneur. And started a whole new life up there. So while I was up there, about, I think I was maybe 11, 12 years old, we had a stepdad brought some of us down, me, my brother, my stepbrother, to, I don't know if you're familiar with Westside Gorge, but we came down to hike around the Gorge Trail, and we had parked up above. There's a spot you can park on the dirt road up above the trees. You just walk the trail from there. And we had parked up there and started walking down the Southside Trail. And my stepbrother was he was with us. He was a risk maker. Like to go on adventure. He brought a rope with him. Thought, well, we'll tie this rope to the tree and scale down into that tree and hike around. First spot we threw the rope, never reached the bottom, so we chose a different spot. Eventually got down into there. Walked around for a while. Stepbrother and brother ended up climbing up one spot. My stepdad and I went down the creek further and chose another spot to climb up out of the gorge. And as we're climbing up, I remember thinking to myself, man, this is good to see. And I'm glad I'm going up this and not down it, because it'd be a lot harder to go down. And my stepdad had progressed farther than me, and I remember him yelling down to me, hey, when you get up to this point here to the right, it's easier over here. So I keep going, and I get to the spot where there's just this little vertical ledge. It can't be more than a foot and a half, 2 feet high. And man, I'm not going to get up this vertical ledge. I see this ball of roots right here. There's this little sapling right here. And before I grab that ball of roots, push with my feet and fold my arm and I'll grab that sapling. And I'll pull up over that little ledge like that. So I do. I grab that ball of roots and I start pushing with my legs. And all of a sudden that ball of roots gets wet. And I'm still pushing with my legs. And as I'm pushing away. So I swing my left hand to grab that sapling and I miss. I don't know how many of you have ever been in a car accident in your life, but there's this feeling when you go from being in control to being in zero control. Everything here gets into here, and everything in your head goes into full slow motion, and you realize something real bad is about to happen. So as I'm falling, I'm thinking, this is it. I know I just crawled up that spot. There's nothing behind me. There's nothing going to stop me until I either hit a tree or I hit the bottom. So as I start to fall, I get almost horizontal and something in the middle of my back, which feels like a hand. And it hits me so hard my head gets blasted back. I look to the right, I grab a tree, and I stand up. I know immediately in my head what just happened. But I'm terrified to turn around and look. Because I say, what do you do? What do you do when a miracle like this happens? Do you just believe it and keep going? Or do you look and see if that angel is actually whatever? God, Jesus is standing there. And I'm standing there holding that tree thinking, well, I gotta look. I gotta see what's there. So I turn around and there's nothing. Nothing there. No angel, no tree, no branch, no nothing. Nothing is there. So this is incredible. So I finish climbing up, I get to the top, and I tell my stepdad what just happened. And his first words, wow, don't tell your mother that story. Because he's terrified, he's got his wife's son out in the split. So as an 11-year-old boy, as we progressed that day, I said something to him about maybe let's go climb some more cliffs. Because when an 11-year-old boy is saved, he suddenly feels invincible. And I'll never forget my stepdad telling me, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. That verse, that it just never leave me. God gave me that story for a reason. It's something I held on to my whole life. So into the 8th grade, having grown up with an alcoholic father, having lived that life, having seen firsthand the effects of that life, I made it a point early on that I didn't want to be an alcoholic. However, in 8th grade, I started drinking. It didn't last long because I realized I didn't want that. I didn't want that life. I didn't want to grow into that life. So high school proceeded, and I pretty much remained free from pursuing worldly pleasures throughout high school. My senior year, I started to drink, and then went off to college. Got accepted to Clarkson into their chemical engineering program. I had personal high expectations of myself. That I was, like, I kind of felt when they give those senior superlatives, like who's most likely to succeed, I felt I qualified for that. Here I'm off to go to this hard school, this real hard program. I just felt real optimistic that I was going to go forward and be successful, earn lots of money, that type of worldly thing. However, at Clarkson, I continued to drink, got into recreational drugs, and had a grade point average good enough to stay for sophomore year. However, my parents couldn't afford for me to return sophomore year. So now I'm home in Governor, spent the summer with all my friends, and they all go off to college. And now here I am, this 18, 19-year-old young man who had all these high expectations of himself, go out and succeed. And now here I am, stuck at home. I am now pursuing worldly pleasure. I've opened the doors to different addictions, and now all my friends are gone, and I'm not going back to college. And to say I fell into a depression would be putting it mildly. It got so bad that one night I'm sitting in my bedroom at my parents' house, and I look over, and the hunting rifle is sitting there. I grab it, and I put my mouth over the barrel, and I sit there and start to contemplate my future with my mouth over the barrel of this rifle. And I realized that my mom was 7 feet away from me, sleeping. And the only thing that's stopping me is I don't want her to find me. So, excuse me. I just don't want her to find me. So, as I contemplate my future, I say, how do I die in such a manner that she doesn't have to find me? Like, I know what I'll do. I'll join the Marines. I'll go off. In high school, I was a phenomenal athlete. I was at the state cross-country championships 2 years in a row, state track championships 2 years in a row. Just a great athlete. I thought I'll join the Marines. I'll get in the wildest, most deployed division they have, and I'll die in some foreign country somewhere. So the following day, I go to Watertown, and I go to the Marine recruiters that I want to join. So we start talking, and they ask me, do you have asthma? Well, kid, I have asthma, so we can't take you. So it's ridiculous. You know, I'm a phenomenal athlete. I can outrun any Marine that probably is. So we can't take you. So I said, all right, go home. A day or two later, an Army recruiter shows up at my door. And I say, hi, I was looking to join the Army, I want to join the Marines. He said, well, I'm a reserve recruiter, which had nothing to do with me. I just want to be in the reserves. I wanted to go die somewhere. I didn't tell him that, but he said, well, we got this new program. where you can do 4 years active, 2 years active, and then 4 years in the reserve. But you're part of the reserve the whole time. And he said I could pick my duty station. I said, all right, I want to go to the most deployed station you guys have. And he said, well, I can get you in with an 82nd Airborne Division in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. They're the most deployed unit in the Army. Sign me up. Here we go. So I joined the Army. In the Army, I pursued a life of pleasure even further. All things flesh. If my flesh wanted it, I did it. It got to the point where there was no more, like I grew up, to back up a little bit further, in high school, when I was 15, I was still going to church every Sunday, all the way from as long as I can remember, I was 15, I went to church. And at 15, my pastor one Sunday said, hey Ben, come on into my office, I want to share something with you. So I go in and he says, hey, you can't be friends with girls. And I'm thinking, friends with girls? How can I be friends with girls? It doesn't make any sense. And then he says, hey, you really shouldn't go to proms and stuff like that. It's only a heartache. Boy, I can't really dance. Can't be friends with girls, it's just strange. So I come home that day and told my parents what he said. So I don't want to go back to church anymore. Well, you're old enough to get church now. Obviously, we'd like for you to be there, but you're old enough to make that choice. So pretty much from 15 on out, it was just a progressive slide from not following the Holy Spirit's guidance and following more what Ben wanted in life. So I just pursued this life of pleasure, drinking. I was a heavy alcoholic in the Army. The world would call it a functioning alcoholic. I drank every night, but yeah, I was a stellar soldier during the day. It got bad. So from there, I fast forward a little bit. Did the active time, did some other stuff in life, and just to fast forward some more. Eventually, I'm in the reserves now, and I'm living out in Washington State, and my reserve unit in New York is activated for the war in Iraq. I come back. We didn't end up going to Iraq, but we ended up, a whole battalion ended up going down to Texas. And I was in Texas for about a year. And meanwhile, my time in Texas was just amplified pursuing things with promiscuity, alcoholism, to the extreme. And during that time, a good friend of mine in high school that I ran cross country with, his dad was our cross country coach. He had also joined the Army. I joined the Army to die. He joined the Army to my college. And he was in reserves, and he got deployed. And then he got killed in Iraq. That hit me really hard. My drinking went from drinking a lot to drinking an incredible amount. The guilt that I felt was immense. I hear a friend of mine who joined for something I was going to get, got what I joined for. The challenges I started to face, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, were building. So I leave Texas with a lot more baggage, and I go back to college again. third time back to college, living at home with my parents, who are my mom and stepdad, who are in the process of, well, they're going through a divorce. I do my first semester at college, and things kind of just fell apart. I did actually this time, I had a 4.0 GPA, which I was excited about, but now I don't have any money. Now I can't go back second semester. So I'm living at home with my parents, and you name it, I'm addicted to it at this point. I'm now smoking marijuana all the time. I'm drinking all the time. I'm addicted to cigarettes. I'm addicted to pornography. I'm addicted to gambling. You name it, and I'm now carrying it around. That summer, my mom said she wanted to talk to me about something. And but I need to tell you that your brother was raped by a former pastor of ours. And I want to know, were you raped? And that put me in a pretty bad spot. When she told me that, I remember walking out onto a festival at their house, and I looked up in the sky, and I said, God, you're not real. There's no way. There's no way you even exist for that kind of thing to happen. You're not real. And I walked away, and walked even deeper into everything I can carry. So at this point, everything about me is broken. I'm shocked. Everything's broken, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially. I'm carrying all sorts of addictions. And there's no hope. In my head. That's like God must have looked down and all that figured out. Didn't want to survive. We'll just be carrying that. Before that summer, I agreed to buy it. My brother had gotten married, and his wife's name was another brother. And 5 years, I think about trying to do last summer, I decided, so here I am, about a broken day. They want beautiful woman with all the things in life, and help her. Then I'm going to change it to 7 years, change it to be honest. I brought a lot of garbage to that. She was living in Alton with $10, and we were going to basic surgery. I had to borrow $20 from $7 to go on a date to what? The only full L was paid for both of us. The only window to pay for us. Was homeless. So we get married in Syracuse. Shortly after, we were dating about half a year and proposed that Christmas. We were married 6 months later. We had our first child 9 months later, pretty much. Instant family. Meanwhile, I am still that little boy on garden. I'm not the boy who put away college things. The person that I read so often on the planet. I'm still that boy carrying all this garbage. Still lost. immensely liked. So at the time, Terry's working full time, I'm working full time, and we have a child who is in daycare, and we decide, you know what, this is important, daycare, we're not patient, so I leave my job to do full time stay on that. And Terry and my relationship is just I've lost my addiction, things are falling apart. Not that I refuse to change, but the reality is that you can't. Someone that's lost, they're unable to do it. So we do about a year of me staying at home. And meanwhile, it's just still in Terry inside. The mother and her wants to go. And I am keeping it alive, but I'm not a nurse. So I can feed her, I can take care of her, but I'm not going to provide the loving care that a mother can do. So we talk and we decide I'm going to go back to work. And meanwhile, the job I work at, even though at this point in my life, I smoke marijuana all day long. In the morning, at lunchtime, when I'm at home, all the time. And also what we call functioning addict marijuana. So the job I left was a good job. I was moving up fast management, and they wanted to move back. They had a position for me in management and wanted to move back. That's what we need to be taking something. However, I couldn't stop. So I tried that thing there. And that day, what had happened, I realized the bomb went off. Here, this whole time, Terry had been watching. I went from living in life and my addiction to open. When I got married, now I'm living life and my addiction. Hiding it off. Lying, all the time. I don't lies. And so now I feel something. Now, truth is going to come out. And basically, if the bomb had gone off in my life, it's going to send just a shockwave of damage out to all the expenses. I call home, okay, this is me home. And that keeps going on. So I checked into an outpatient rehab. Try to get that out. Meanwhile, at this point in my life, right now I weigh about 200 pounds. Back then I weighed 255 pounds. I was ate a lot, drank a lot, alcohol, super unhealthy. And so I checked into outpatient rehab and started doing the sobriety. And what I realized looking back during that process of choosing the lifestyle I was in, as a husband, I put my wife in a position to have to make a choice. If a husband is living the spirit-led life, if he's following God, his wife isn't willing to put in a position to have to make a choice. And Carrie made a choice during that time that I'm done with that. That isn't his thing. I'm done with it. I'm going to move on. I'm going to find something else. I'm done with that. So 6 months into being sober and going to Alcoholics Anonymous, classes going to narcotics anonymous classes 2-3 times a week. Trying to willpower this thing away. It actually, I switched my addictions. Video games. That's socially acceptable. Switch it around, Obviously, God's eye, addiction is addiction. Whether it's a video game, whether it's work, whether it's money, whether it's teammates. But the switch to the video game changed my life for about 6 months. And then one day, the computer was left behind. Carrie's email. I found an email to one of the consultants to try to do it. Voice in fact, she couldn't wait to do it. She couldn't wait for her relationship with her husband to be over. And she's looking forward to the relationship. So at that point, I know. Alright, you're moving on. You had a house that I moved in 2006. And the following day, after all that was going to be Mary Lynn told me she's pregnant. Or rejected, Doing that, it's really outside looking in. And sorry, without fucking with the child. And I just read that. I know the love of the relationship we had in that sense. So that day, I immediately jumped back to that. Shortly after that, I was on the house. And I went to 285 pounds. I was not heavier than I just started to live away. I moved into the crowd, and things went from bad to worse. I just remember the addiction. I remember one night being called a child, 2 years old. And I remember her being in the living room window. Just crying that not to leave. And the guilt I felt about who I was at that point. Because I knew what my dad was, and I desperately didn't want to go into that man. And now here I am. No different. That best case scenario, I'm going to see that girl 50% of her life. And that best case scenario, most likely I'm going to see her every other week. And it's just killing me. So things keep getting worse for me. My 30th birthday comes up in February. And I go out to a bar. At my bar, I make some new friends, and around closing time, at 2 in the morning, the girl approaches me and says, "Hey, there's an after party at my house, and you're welcome to come." Right now, the bar is every month on the street. That hour party is way out the party. And it's snowing. I'm incredibly proud. He gets me the car, and father's car. So, when the first stop, that car blows into the car. I come to the car. Come to the next stop. That car blows through that stop. This time, I just go on the whole way. Just I wanted to stop There's that drive.
Pardon?
I don't care if I'm in the hospital. I don't care if I'm in the jail. I don't care if I'm hurt. I just don't care. None of this matters.
What you
I
doing?
need to check out. Do I get the card? Stupid and I leave. Get that home. This morning, I'm ready to go to work. And this is a far run that is saying it's physically hard to supposed to get. This is my point. I showed up that morning for okay. Now, Carrie is pregnant. I get out of the house now. 7 months. She just started going to a big hospital. Meeting with this as soon as I was started, as she was taking it, she said she's asking me to just get our relationship with her. The whole time I'm out of the house, so I called her that day. Yes, I want we immediately start going back to church. There was so we start going to church and they're doing a special on a movie called Firebird, which God just starts lighting up. Just so you know, it just starts. Like there was a whole row of nails in my life. He just starts setting them all down for me, and it's just blowing my mind. Puts the fire in these. I need the Bible. I have been the Bible I have. I've been carrying it around a whole lot. I never really read it. And you put such a fire in me to read this thing. We're going to read into it and read. Alright, sit down and read it. Read it. And read the whole thing through almost. Just kind of passionately for a few minutes. And so we did that. And so meanwhile, I'm thinking, alright, I grew up in church. The last 10 years of my life I lived with anything with life. So at this point in my life, I'm really into hiking. And I told Carrie one day, I was like, I gotta go. Carrie, go for a hike. So I just gotta get like I gotta do all the time. We gotta figure this thing out. So I'm hiking and I pray and I get to this one spot. And I say, Jesus, what do I gotta do? You have to ask you back into the heart. And as soon as I said that, over my right shoulder, it was all but audible. I heard everything. And it just throws me in the tracks. And then I realized, here I am, and I rehearsed all the years, all the sin that I got, and you never left, not once, you never left. So we moved back. Shortly after that, So I move home and I God just tells me, just if you look at the sun, if you look at the pictures of me before, Jesus gave me the sun. Shortly after he was born, he started to go back to his mom. Married me to his mom as well. And when we moved back, when we moved back, we're looking for a church. Somebody tells us about a church when we moved up. They won't stay in this church started. So it's kind of neat to be here again with you guys. There's a lot of activity. Nice too. So we moved back to and I start a relationship with God. For most of my life, and past years, sometimes 0 years. Yes, I'm a believer. Yes, I don't care about it. So I read the word, I call God, but I can't share His word. So I start visiting my dad 2-3 times a week. And my dad is still an alcoholic. He still has issues. That's something we're building a relationship with each other. But it's taking this is helping my relationship. Nor is it helping my relationship with God. So this goes on for good year and a half now. Every time where I hear my dad, get up and upstairs, on the boat, and it's not complicated. So God always did it. You can't fix me, and you can't fix me. You can't fix me. You gotta decide who you are. Back up, right? That was in the market. He was insane. I spent a lot of time got to know him. So when I moved back up here, I saw in the paper that there was a benefit because he had, I want to say, stage 4 cancer of some sort. And the first thing I thought was, I need to help him get up this guy. I need to share with him the story of his. So I go and visit him. And at this point, I'll say that it was 6 months ago or so, like a year plus or so, he was given a diagnosis that he's only got 2 months to live. Here he is, still living, looks healthy, looks good. So we visit for a little bit, and I end up not sharing the gospel. So, time has gone by, probably close to a year. And out of the blue, Okay. Hold on. Your name. God doesn't just not a man that so I get to the golf course. And as soon as I see him, he's elevated. He's withering away. That's his nickname. And it's coming with gutter. So the first 9 holes, it's just small talk. And then you got it back to me. So now it's just competitive for that. Or it's just here we go. So I gave Ken, it's all the trump card, I gave Ken every trump card I had for the golf. And I asked him, I said, Ken, has anybody talked to you about that? He said, no. And it just was, like, here's a man who is literally weeks from that, walking around, and nobody about God, like that. And I told him everything I told you. And what he told me was before that, I said, I'm going to talk about the offer. I'm not going to say what he said. But he said, he was tremendously. And the fear I was in, I could tell this fear came that real. It was all right. This fear I could hold in my own hand because of the action. And that night was very clear. He felt like he deserved his life. He knew that so, I shared everything I could. So, 4 weeks later, he died. And what was he? 10 times close. Well, that's brother. Wasn't the closest to where I lost him. Get this funeral, and if you can define a funeral that keeps you I get to this over the Bible. I lost him. But here's this man that just weeks ago, he was so handful of over and just laying over the Bible. And it turns out that is getting back to the preacher or that this. It just blew my mind, but also opened my eyes to the importance of sharing the testimony. The importance of just laying it on. This unveiling what's in your heart, in your life to others, being vulnerable to people. Because the people out there that believe they have no place, and until we share our words, until we talk to them, they're lost. So, thanks to still walking, 1 foot serving God, 1 foot serving my God. And that night of Thanksgiving, I scheduled with my dad that I'm going to go to the podcast. But the night of Thanksgiving, every time I've gone to my dad's house, there were 3 things in the bucket. Alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana. There was never a change. Every time. It just was a given. Ben's coming over tonight, those 3 things are going to be there. So on my way there that night, I called God and asked him, this is what? This is what? This is God. I get there. only a little bit, and small little bit. Stay with my dad for maybe an hour. Really? And I don't get more than 100 feet from his house on the road. And I don't have to tolerate it longer. My head's been tight in my hand for all the lives of my parents. But God, I can't, and you have to. The next day, I woke up. Typically, always, at that's golf. It's just a long, this is 8 years ago, and I have yet to have this done. I've yet to have it. God severed it that day, completely severed it. And I don't know how to effectively communicate that when you are addicted to something, you desire it, you crave it, and you've been doing it for so long, your whole neural system is almost hardwired for it, and he severed it. It's just, it was a miracle. God's been faithful ever since then. So with that, I'm not anything special. I'm a desperate man. I know what God has done will do for us. He doesn't pick and choose something. He's faithful regardless of possibility. As we submit to the Spirit, as we love our neighbor, I encourage you to share your testimony. Share your testimony with your friends, with your relatives. I don't really know what to say to all of that. Other than that is absolute truth. There's power in Jesus. Whether you're 90 years old or 90, there's power in Jesus. I just pray from today forward, believe that in the depths of your heart, that in your everyday reaction, power. This is my closing prayer. Father, I just thank you for this day, Lord. I thank you, Lord, just to, Lord, even though it's raw and real, Lord, I just thank you for the opportunity to together relive the miracle of who you are. Lord, just to recall that though we were sinners, Lord, you died for us on the cross. That you started to work in us, Lord, that you are not going to give up. You will see it through. Lord, I thank you for the work